The London rain hit the windows like accusations. Emma stood in the hotel suite, staring at the adjoining door that separated her from Daniel Reed. Beyond that door was the man she'd loved in silence for 2 years. Beyond that door was the CEO who'd stayed single for a decade, building walls higher than his company's glass towers. "You should rest," his voice came through the crack in the door. Still distant, still careful, she wanted to laugh. Rest, as if she could sleep knowing. He was 12 feet away. The Peaton deal had brought them here. For days in London? For days of pretending professional distance while translating not just words, but the space between heartbeats. Emma pressed her palm against the doorframe. 2 years of watching him from across conference rooms. 2 years of memorizing the way light caught his jaw during morning meetings. 2 years of being invisible. Daniel. Her voice cracked his name in half. Silence, then footsteps. The door opened wider. He stood there, shirt untucked, eyes holding something dangerous. Something that looked like recognition.
Ow.
"You called me Daniel?" he said quietly. "Not Mr. Reed." "We're in London," she whispered. "You said formality would make things awkward." His gaze dropped to her mouth, lingered, rose back to her eyes with an intensity that stole her breath. "Emma." Her name and his voice sounded like a confession. "Do you know why I really asked for you?" She couldn't breathe, couldn't move. "In 2 years, you never once tried to be seen. Everyone else performs. You just existed. Quietly brilliant. Quietly breaking my concentration in every single meeting." He stepped closer. "I noticed you noticing me." The world tilted. "It's impossible," she breathed. "Is it?" His hand rose, hovering near her face but not touching. "Not yet. Then tell me I'm wrong. Tell me you haven't been watching me the way I've been watching you." Emma's heart hammered against her ribs. 2 years of secrets bleeding into the space between them. "Can't." The admission fell from her lips. "I can't tell you that." Something shifted in his expression. Hunger, fear, want. Then his phone shattered the moment, vibrating violently on the desk behind him. He glanced at the screen and his entire body went rigid. "What is it?" Emma asked. Daniel's face drained of color. "The deal. Thomas just sent an email." His voice went flat, dead. "Petton Digital is pulling out. Effective immediately." "What?" "But dinner went perfectly. He said he trusted us. Someone sent him something." Daniel's hand shook as he held up the phone. "Information about Horizon Tech. About me. Things that were supposed to stay buried." Emma moved closer, reading over his shoulder. The email contained allegations. Financial impropriety. Hidden debts. A scandal from 5 years ago that could destroy everything Daniel had built. "Is any of it true?" she whispered. He looked at her, and the walls she'd watched him build came crashing down in his eyes. "Every word," he said. "And now you know why I've stayed single for 10 years? Why I don't let anyone close." His laugh was bitter. "Someone just burned my company to the ground. And the only question that matters is who knew enough to do it." The adjoining door between them suddenly felt like a chasm. Outside, London's rain turned violent, and inside, Emma realized the man she'd loved from a distance had been running from something all along. Running from the exact moment she'd just walked into. 3 hours past midnight. Emma found Daniel in the hotel bar, empty except for shadows and the bartender who'd stopped pretending to clean glasses. Daniel sat alone, whiskey untouched, staring at nothing. "You shouldn't be here," he said without looking up. Emma slid onto the bar stool beside him. "Neither should you. My company is dying. I'm exactly where I should be." The bartender drifted away, giving them silence. "Tell me," Emma said. "Tell me what happened 5 years ago." Daniel's jaw clenched. "Why? So you can confirm I'm exactly what they say I am? So I can understand." He laughed, sharp and painful. "Understanding. That's what you do, isn't it? Listen for what people mean, not what they say." He finally looked at her. "What if what I mean is worse than what I say?" Emma held his gaze. "Try me." The words came slow, dragged from somewhere deep. 5 years ago, Horizon Tech was drowning. We had 3 months of operating capital left. Investors were pulling out. I had 200 employees who trusted me, and I was about to put them all on the street. He picked up the whiskey, still didn't drink, so I made a deal. With someone who offered capital with no questions asked. Who? Marcus Chen. He ran venture capital during the day and laundered money at night. I didn't know about the second part. Or I told myself I didn't know. His voice cracked. I knew. Emma's breath caught. The money saved us. Built us. Made us legitimate. Then Marcus got arrested last year, and I thought it was over. Buried, but someone kept records. Someone knows. He finally drank, and now they're using it to destroy me. Who sent the email to Thomas? That's the question. Daniel's phone lit up again. Another message. His face went white. No. What? He turned the screen toward her. The message was from James, his assistant. The man who'd recruited Emma for this trip. I'm sorry, Daniel. They made me an offer I couldn't refuse. Consider this my resignation. And my revenge for 10 years of being overlooked. Emma felt ice spread through her veins. James did this. He knew everything, had access to everything. Daniel's voice was hollow. I trusted him completely. Another message appeared, this time to both of them. Emma, you were perfect. So eager, so grateful for the opportunity. You should see yourself. Playing translator while I played you both. The recording of tonight's confession will be in Thomas Petton's inbox by morning, along with proof that you knew about Daniel's past before London, that you're complicit. The room spun. I didn't know, Emma whispered. Daniel, I swear I didn't know. I believe you. His voice was broken. But it doesn't matter what I believe. By morning, you'll be implicated too. James made sure of it. Emma's mind raced. The recording? He must have bugged the suite. Your room or mine? They ran up 5 flights of stairs because the elevator felt like a trap. Down the hallway, hearts pounding. Into Daniel's suite where they tore apart lamps, checked outlets. Searched everywhere. Emma found it behind the air vent in the adjoining doorway. The doorway where they'd stood hours ago, confessing feelings while James recorded every word. She held the tiny device in her palm. He heard everything. Our conversation. Your confession about Marcus Chen. All of it. Daniel sat on the bed, head in his hands. It's over. Even if we destroy that, he's already sent copies. Thomas won't touch us now. The deal is dead. Horizon Tech's reputation is dead. He looked up at her, eyes red. And I just dragged you down with me. Emma stared at the recording device, at the evidence of James's betrayal, at the ruins of everything Daniel had built. Then she made a choice. No, she said quietly. He didn't drag me anywhere. I walked in with my eyes open. Emma, you don't understand what this means. Your career, your reputation, everything will be destroyed. She moved toward him, knelt in front of where he sat, took his face in her hands. Listen to what I mean, not what I say. Her voice was steady now, strong. For 2 years I loved you from a distance because distance was safe. But I'm done being safe. James wants to destroy you? Then he'll have to go through me first. Daniel's eyes searched hers. Why would you do that? Because you asked me why you requested me specifically. But you never asked why I said yes. She smiled, sad and fierce. I said yes because for 2 years I've watched you value people's humanity over their productivity. I've watched you remember names. Take stares. Give real smiles to real moments. And if the price of loving someone like that is burning beside them, then hand me the matches. His hands covered hers, holding her to him. You don't love me, he whispered. You love the version you invented from a distance. Then let me meet the real version. Her forehead touched his. Let me decide for myself. Outside, London's dawn was breaking. Inside, Daniel Reed pulled Emma Clark against him, and for the first time in 10 years, he let someone see him completely. I'm going to lose everything, he said into her hair. Then lose it with me, she answered. His phone buzzed one final time. A message from Thomas Petton. My office. 7 a.m.? Bring Emma. There's more to this story, and I want to hear it from both of you. Before I make my final decision, 3 hours till judgment. 3 hours to decide if truth was worth the cost. Thomas. Petton's office overlooked the Thames, gray water under gray sky. Everything the color of uncertainty. Emma sat beside Daniel in leather chairs that cost more than her monthly rent. Across the massive desk, Thomas studied them both with eyes that had built empires and buried rivals. Catherine stood by the window, arms crossed, expression unreadable. I received quite the package this morning, Thomas said finally. Financial records, audio recordings, a very detailed email from your former assistant explaining exactly who Daniel Reed really is. He paused. And who you are, Miss Clark. Emma's nails dug into her palms. So before I make my decision, I want to hear it from you. No lawyers. No corporate speak. Just truth. Thomas leaned forward. Did you take laundered money to save your company, Mr. Reed? Daniel's voice was steady. Yes. Did you know the source was criminal? A pause. Then I suspected. I didn't confirm. I told myself that not knowing was different than knowing. He met Thomas's eyes. I was wrong. Catherine turned from the window. And you, Emma, did you know about this before London? No. Emma's voice rang clear. I found out last night. The same time as you, yet you're still here, Thomas observed. Sitting beside him. Why? Because mistakes don't erase who someone is. They reveal it. Emma straightened. Daniel could have hidden behind lawyers. Instead, he's telling you the truth, at the cost of everything he's built. That's not the action of a criminal. That's the action of someone who made desperate choices and has spent 5 years trying to earn his way back to integrity. Thomas's expression gave nothing away. Catherine, your thoughts. Catherine moved toward the desk. I think Miss Clark is either remarkably naive or remarkably loyal, possibly both. She looked at Daniel. I also think that if we're going to do business with someone, I'd rather it be someone who admits their failures than someone who hides them. Hope flickered in Daniel's eyes. Then Thomas opened another folder. There's one more element. James Chen, your former assistant, sent me something else. Proof that Emma Clark has been embezzling from Horizon Tech for 8 months. The room went silent. Emma felt the blood drain from her face. That's impossible. Thomas slid papers across the desk. Bank transfers. Forged signatures. Her name on documents she'd never seen. According to this, you've been siphoning money through fake vendor accounts. Small amounts. Carefully hidden. Until James found them? Thomas's voice was cold. He suggested you approached Daniel romantically to distract from your own crimes. That this entire relationship is manipulation. Emma couldn't breathe. That's a lie, Daniel said, his voice sharp. James is framing her. Perhaps you're the one being manipulated. Thomas stood. I cannot enter a partnership with a company under investigation for embezzlement. Even if I believe you, Mr. Reed, I cannot risk my family's legacy on someone who may be complicit. She's not complicit. She's innocent. Then prove it. Thomas looked at Emma. Miss Clark, I'm offering you a choice. I will make the Pedon deal happen. Full partnership. Horizon Tech survives. But only if you agree to step away from the company entirely. Resign, publicly. Take responsibility for the embezzlement, and I will ensure no criminal charges are filed. Daniel's company lives. Your career ends. Those are your options. The room swayed. Catherine's voice cut through the silence. Father, you can't seriously ask her to take the fall for something she didn't do. I'm asking her to make a choice. Thomas's eyes never left Emma's. The question is what she values more. Her own innocence or Daniel Reed's future. Okay. Emma looked at Daniel. Saw the horror in his eyes. The refusal forming on his lips. She spoke before he could. I'll do it. No. Daniel stood. Absolutely not. Thomas, you can't ask her to destroy herself for me. I'm not asking, Thomas said. She's offering. The question is whether you're willing to accept. Emma rose, turning to Daniel. Taking his hands. Listen to what I mean. Don't. His voice broke. Don't do this. 200 employees depend on Horizon Tech, your life's work, everything you've built. She squeezed his hands. I've spent 2 years being invisible. Maybe it's time I was invisible for a reason that matters. You matter. Pulled her closer. You matter more than any of it. Then prove it. Her eyes held his. Take the deal. Save the company. And spend the rest of your life making sure my sacrifice meant something. Emma, please. I'm not asking for permission. She turned to Thomas. I'll sign whatever you need. My resignation. A confession. All of it. On one condition, which is Daniel never has to see me again. No contact. No attempts to clear my name. He takes the deal and moves on. Completely. She looked back at Daniel, memorizing his face. Because if you try to save me, you'll destroy everything. And this will have been for nothing. Daniel's eyes were wet. I can't lose you. Not like this. You never had me to lose. She smiled, breaking. I was just the girl who loved you in secret. Now you know. And that has to be enough. Thomas pulled out documents. If you're certain, Miss Clark, sign here. Emma picked up the pen. Daniel caught her wrist. There has to be another way. There isn't. She signed her name. Each letter, a small death. Take care of Sophie. She'll need a friend when I'm gone. The ink dried. The deal was done. Thomas stood, extending his hand to Daniel. You have a partner, Mr. Reed. Use this second chance wisely. Catherine walked Emma to the door. Whispered low enough only Emma could hear, for what it's worth. I think you're either the bravest person I've ever met, or the most foolish. Maybe both, Emma whispered back. In the hallway, Daniel caught up to her, spun her around. I will fix this. I swear to you, I will find proof that James framed you. I will clear your name. If you do, Thomas pulls the deal. You know that? Emma touched his face one last time. Let me go, Daniel. It's the only way this works. I love you. The words tore from him, raw, desperate. I don't care if it's too soon or too fast or too impossible. I love you. Emma felt tears spill over. Then love me enough to let me save you. She walked away, down the hallway, into the elevator, out into London's rain. Behind her, Daniel Reed stood in the corridor of Petton Digital, holding a partnership that cost him everything that suddenly mattered, and somewhere, James Chen watched the security footage, smiling because the game wasn't over, it was only just beginning. 6 months later, Emma lived in a studio apartment in Brooklyn now, small, cheap, anonymous. She worked at a coffee shop, made lattes for people who never looked at her face. Perfect invisibility. Again, the news about her embezzlement had made tech blogs for a week, then disappeared. Horizon Tech's partnership with P.E. Dunno dominated headlines instead. Success story. Redemption arc. Daniel Reed's face on magazine covers. She never looked at those magazines. Couldn't bear to her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Then did Emma Clark. A woman's voice. Familiar. Who is this? Catherine Petton. We need to talk. In person tonight. Emma's heart stopped. I can't. The agreement says no contact. The agreement was built on lies. Catherine's voice was urgent. James Chen is dead. Overdose, possible suicide. And he left something behind. A confession. Emma, you need to see this. The Gramercy Hotel, room 412. 1 hour. Come alone. The line went dead. Emma stood in her kitchen, hands shaking. Dead. James was dead, and Catherine had evidence. The smart choice was to ignore this. Stay invisible. Stay safe. Emma grabbed her coat. The Gramercy Hotel was everything her apartment wasn't. Elegant, expensive, the kind of place where Daniel would stay when he was in New York. Was he here? In this city? Breathing the same air? She shook the thought away. Room 412, she knocked. Catherine opened the door. But she wasn't alone. Daniel stood behind her. Older, tired, more beautiful than Emma remembered. You promised, Emma whispered, backing away. No contact. That was the deal. The deal was based on fraud. Daniel moved forward. Emma, please. Just listen. Catherine gestured to the laptop on the desk. Before James died, he sent me a video. I think guilt finally caught up to him. She pressed play. James's face filled the screen, gaunt, haunted. My name is James Chen, and I destroyed 2 people to serve my own ambition. His voice cracked. Emma Clark never embezzled anything. I fabricated every document, forged every signature. I did it because I wanted Daniel Reed to fail, because for 10 years I was invisible to him. Just an assistant, replaceable. Emma felt the room tilt. But Emma, James's eyes were wet. She was different. She made him see people, feel things, and I knew if she stayed, she'd make him better. So I destroyed her first. He wiped his face. Marcus Chen was my brother. The man Daniel borrowed money from? When Marcus got arrested, I blamed Daniel for being successful while my brother rotted in prison. So I waited, planned, and when the London opportunity came, I saw my chance. The video continued. James confessing to every detail, the planted bugs, the forged documents, the manipulation. I thought destroying them would feel like justice. Instead, it just feels like what it is. Revenge, petty and poisonous. James looked directly at the camera. Emma, I'm sorry. You sacrificed yourself for someone else's sins, including mine. And Daniel, you lost the only person who saw you clearly. I did that. Not you, me. The video ended. Silence filled the room. Emma couldn't speak, couldn't move. Thomas saw this yesterday, Catherine said quietly. He's already drafting a public statement. Full exoneration. Your job back at Horizon Tech. Your reputation restored. More than that, Daniel's voice was rough. I've spent 6 months investigating every document, every transaction, every lie. I have proof of everything James did. You're free, Emma, completely. Really looked. Saw the shadows under his eyes, the weight he carried. You should have left me buried, she whispered. You had everything. The deal. The success. Why risk it? Because you were right. He moved closer. You told me to make your sacrifice mean something. And I realized the only way to do that was to prove you never should have had to sacrifice anything in the first place. Thomas could have pulled the partnership. I know. You could have lost everything again, I know. Daniel stopped inches from her. But I already lost what mattered. I lost you. And every day since London, I've been building a company that feels empty because the person who made me want to build it isn't there. Emma felt tears burning. You can't say things like that. Why not? Because I spent 6 months learning how to stop loving you. Her voice broke. And you're making it really hard. Good. His hand rose, cupping her face. Because I never learned. Never wanted to. I love you, Emma. I loved you when you were invisible. I loved you when you sacrificed everything. And I love you now, standing here finally seeing that you were never the one who needed saving. I was Daniel. She leaned into his touch. You can't build a relationship on guilt and rescue. I'm not. He tilted her face up. I'm building it on the fact that for 2 years, you watched me from a distance and saw who I really was. And I watched you back, seeing the same thing. We were both invisible to everyone else, but never to each other. Catherine cleared her throat. I'm going to step out. Give you to some privacy. She left, door clicking shut behind her. Emma and Daniel stood in the space between what was and what could be. I don't know how to do this, Emma admitted. The invisible girl doesn't get the happy ending. Stop being invisible. Daniel pulled her closer. Be loud. Be present. Be impossible to ignore. And let me spend the rest of my life making sure everyone sees what I've always seen. Someone extraordinary. What if I'm not? What if you invented me from a distance the same way you think I invented you? Then we'll figure out the real versions together. His forehead touched hers. Emma, I'm asking you to take a risk. On me. On us. On the possibility that two people who learned how to hide can learn how to be seen? She closed her eyes, felt his breath, his heartbeat, the solid reality of him. What about Horizon Tech? Your employees? Everyone who depends on you? Sophie's been acting as interim content director. She's brilliant at it. The company's thriving. He smiled. Turns out when you build something strong enough, it can stand without you, which means I can finally do what I should have done 6 months ago. What's that? Stop running from the one thing I was most afraid of. His lips brushed her forehead. Letting someone matter. Emma opened her eyes, saw the truth in his gaze. I'm terrified, she whispered. Me too, he smiled. Sad and hopeful and real. Be terrified with me. She kissed him soft at first, then deeper. 2 years of distance collapsing into certainty. When they pulled apart, Daniel was crying. I thought I lost you. You did. Emma wiped his tears. But I'm really good at being found by people who actually look. Outside. New York City hummed with 8 million stories. Inside, 2 people who'd mastered invisibility finally let themselves be seen. But through the window. Across the street, a figure watched from the shadows. Marcus Chen. Alive. Released from prison 3 weeks ago. And his brother's confession video wasn't the whole truth, not even close. The knock came at 3 a.m. Emma woke in Daniel's arms. In his penthouse, in the life she was slowly learning to believe could be hers. Another knock. Urgent, Daniel stirred. Stay here. He pulled on jeans, moved to the door, checked the security screen. His face went white. Marcus. Emma was behind him instantly. That's impossible. He's in prison. Early release. Good behavior. Daniel's voice was flat. I got the notification last month. I just didn't think he'd come. Don't open it. I have to. Daniel looked at her. This was always going to happen. The debt doesn't go away just because James confessed. He opened the door. Marcus Chen looked nothing like his brother. Where James had been precise and controlled, Marcus was rough edges and cold eyes. Prison had carved him into something hard. Daniel Reed. House. Marcus smiled without warmth. And this must be the famous Emma Clark, the girl who took the fall. Very noble. What do you want? Daniel's body was tense. Ready. What I've always wanted. What you owe me. Marcus walked past them into the apartment, uninvited. See, my brother's confession cleared Miss Clark's name. Touching. But it also put a spotlight back on our original transaction. The money you took from me 5 years ago? Laundered money. Which means you're complicit in my crimes. Emma felt ice in her veins. Daniel paid that money back. With interest, to a shell company. Through offshore accounts? Marcus turned, eyes sharp. But now that James confessed to helping cover it up, those transactions look suspicious. And the FBI is very interested in having a conversation with Mr. Reed about his business practices. Daniel stepped forward. Leave her out of this. Oh, she's already in it. Your girlfriend's name is all over James's confession. She was in London. She signed documents. And if I decide to tell the authorities that she knew about the original deal, that she helped you hide it, she goes down with you? Marcus's smile was vicious. I spent 3 years in prison while you built an empire on my money. Now it's time to pay? How much? Emma's voice was steady despite her shaking hands. Emma, no. How much? She repeated, looking at Marcus. 10 million, cash, untraceable, by the end of the week. Marcus checked his watch. Or I go to the FBI with everything, including evidence that suggests Miss Clark has been helping you launder money through Horizon Tech for the past 6 months. That's insane. Daniel's voice rose. She wasn't even working for me. But you were in contact. Phone records. Financial transfers to her account. Small amounts, but regular. Marcus tilted his head. Looks like you were paying her off. Buying her silence about London. About everything. Emma's mind raced. Daniel's been sending me money? Your rent. Daniel's voice was quiet. Your expenses. I couldn't stand the thought of you struggling while I had everything. So I made sure you were taken care of. Anonymously. Touching. Marcus moved toward the door. 10 million. End of the week. Or you both disappear into the system. And trust me, after what I've seen inside, you don't want that life. He left, door closing with finality. Emma turned to Daniel. You've been paying my bills for 6 months and didn't tell me? I couldn't let you suffer for my mistakes. So you made me dependent without my knowledge? Daniel, that's not protection. That's control. His face crumpled. I was trying to help. I know. She sat down hard. And now we're trapped. Because if those payments look suspicious, my exoneration means nothing. James's confession becomes another lie. Everything falls apart. I have the money. Daniel ran a hand through his hair. I can pay him. End this. And what about next time? And the time after that? Emma looked up at him. He'll keep coming back. You know that? Then what do you suggest? Emma thought about the past 6 months. The coffee shop. The invisibility. The slow, painful process of rebuilding herself from nothing. She thought about James's confession. About the weight of secrets. About the cost of love. You tell the truth. Her voice was clear. Everything. The FBI. The media. All of it. We show them exactly what happened. The original loan. The payments. Your attempt to protect me. We give them everything and let the consequences fall where they will. Emma, we could go to prison. Maybe. She stood, moving to him. Or maybe the truth finally sets us free. Either way, we stop running. We stop letting other people hold our lives hostage. Daniel pulled her close. I can't ask you to risk that. You're not asking. I'm choosing. She held his face in her hands. For 2 years, I hid. Then for 6 months, I hid again. I'm done hiding. Even if the cost is everything. Morning came too fast. They sat in the FBI office at 9 a.m. 2 agents across the table. Recording devices running, Daniel told them everything. Every detail of the original loan. Marcus's money. The way he'd saved his company with blood money and spent 5 years trying to wash it clean. Emma told them about London. About James's manipulation. About the sacrifice she'd made and why. About the love that had grown in the spaces between lies. The agents listened. Asked questions. Made notes. Finally, the lead agent sat back. Mr. Reed, you're aware this confession could result in criminal charges? Yes. And Miss Clark, you understand you're implicating yourself in potential obstruction? Yes. The agents exchanged looks. Here's what's going to happen. The lead agent pulled out a file. We've been building a case against Marcus Chen for 2 years. Money laundering, extortion, racketeering. The problem is everyone he's touched is too afraid to testify. Until now? Daniel's eyes widened. You want us to testify against him? Your original transaction falls under the statute of limitations. Barely. And given the circumstances of the context, we can work with the DA to grant immunity in exchange for cooperation. The agent looked at Emma. Both of you. Full immunity. Clean records. But you have to be willing to take the stand and bury him. Emma felt the world shift. What about the Petton deal? Daniel's company? Marcus's threats have no teeth if he's in custody. Which he will be, as soon as we have your testimony locked down. The agent smiled slightly. Thomas Petton has already been briefed. He's prepared to make a statement supporting you both. Apparently, Catherine convinced him that integrity matters more than appearances. Daniel looked at Emma.
Ow.
This is real. We could actually be free if we testify. Emma's voice was soft. If we stand up in court and relive all of it? Together, Daniel said. We do it together. 3 months later, Marcus Chen was sentenced to 15 years. The trial made headlines. Emma and Daniel's story became public. Some called them heroes. Some called them criminals who got lucky. They stopped reading the comments. Horizon Tech survived. Thrived even. The partnership with Pedon Digital opened doors across Europe. Sophie was promoted to VP of Content. She gave a speech at the company meeting about how the people who survive aren't the ones who never fall, but the ones brave enough to stand back up. Daniel and Emma stood in the back of the room, holding hands, watching their lives become something neither of them had imagined. That night, on the roof of Daniel's building, under stars you could barely see through New York's light pollution, Emma turned to him. "Do you regret it? Any of it?" Daniel pulled her close. "I regret the pain, the fear, the time we lost. But regret you? Never. Even though I complicated everything. Especially because of that." Kissed her forehead. "You made me stop hiding. Stop running. Stop pretending that success could fill the spaces where connection should be. You made me real." Emma smiled against his chest. "You made me visible. You were always visible. I just made sure everyone else could see what I saw." They stood there. Two people who'd learned that love wasn't about perfection or safety or distance. It was about standing in the wreckage of your mistakes and choosing each other anyway. It was about being seen. Even when seeing hurt, it was about the girl who loved in secret and the man who stayed single for 10 years, until they finally realized that some risks were worth taking, that some people were worth fighting for, that some stories don't end with happily ever after, but with something better. Two people, scarred and imperfect, building something real from the ruins of everything they'd lost. Emma looked up at Daniel. "So what now?" He smiled. That rare, genuine smile she'd first noticed from across a conference room 2 years ago. The one that seemed reserved for moments of real appreciation. He pulled her closer. "Now we live. Loudly. Messily. Together." Together, she agreed, and beneath the stars that barely showed, in a city that never stopped moving. Two people who'd mastered invisibility finally let themselves be seen. Completely fearless. Forever, the end.